One question fuels headlines, speculation, and endless fan debates. Will Jungkook make his comeback without Bang Si-hyuk? The possibility of this shift not only stirs excitement, but also carries with it a shocking weight of change, because Bang Si-hyuk, often called Hitman Bang, has been more than just a producer. He has been an architect of Jungkook's career, a mentor, and in many ways, the anchor of BTS's meteoric rise. To grasp the magnitude of this revelation, we must examine both the history Jungkook shares with Bang Si-hyuk and the potential independence he seems to be leaning toward. This isn't simply about an idol planning a solo comeback. This is about whether Jungkook, who has spent over a decade under the creative umbrella of HYBE and Bang Si-hyuk's vision, is ready to step beyond that structure and reintroduce himself to the world on his own terms. Since Jungkook's teenage years, Bang Si-hyuk has played an undeniable role in shaping his career. From the earliest BTS albums, Bang's philosophy of blending sincerity with mainstream appeal helped establish Jungkook's dual image: a powerhouse vocalist and a relatable artist. Songs like Begin and Euphoria weren't simply polished tracks, they were reflections of Jungkook's evolution as a person. Behind the studio walls, Bang's hand was often there, guiding and refining, ensuring that every release aligned with the group's narrative and Jungkook's growing artistry. But as Jungkook's solo ventures began to bloom, particularly between 2022 and 2024, a noticeable shift occurred. His single 7 broke records internationally, securing collaborations with producers and artists outside HYBE's immediate circle. This expansion hinted at something significant. Jungkook had begun stepping into creative independence, building his own network beyond Bang Si-hyuk's reach. By 2026, this independence seems less like an experiment and more like a definitive path. While BTS as a group thrives on synergy, 2026 holds a unique weight for Jungkook as an individual. His military service, long a point of speculation, will be completed, leaving him free to embrace new stages of his career. With that freedom comes choice. Does he continue aligning with Bang Si-hyuk's production, or does he venture into unexplored territory? The speculation about a comeback without Bang Si-hyuk stems from subtle but noticeable signs. Industry insiders have pointed to Jungkook's increasing collaborations with international producers, his personal songwriting efforts, and even his experimentation with different genres that diverge from HYBE's signature sound. The fact that these rumors have persisted suggests there's more than just smoke, there may indeed be fire. And so, the shocking revelation lies here. Jungkook could be preparing a project that marks the first major distance between his artistry and Bang Si-hyuk's oversight. For fans who have followed Jungkook since 2013, the idea of him stepping forward without Bang Si-hyuk feels both thrilling and daunting. On one hand, it symbolizes maturity. After more than a decade in the industry, Jungkook no longer needs to rely on the structures that first nurtured him. He has the skill, the network, and the global audience to stand independently. On the other hand, it feels like the closing of a chapter. Bang Si-hyuk and BTS were inseparable in the early years, their partnership a symbol of trust and vision. To imagine Jungkook now stepping forward alone highlights just how much he has grown and how much the industry itself has shifted. If Jungkook truly does pursue a comeback without Bang Si-hyuk, the first major question is, what will his music sound like? Bang's influence has always been one of refinement, of grounding BTS's music in polished, emotional narratives. Without that touch, Jungkook's artistry may take on a rawer, more experimental edge. His international releases already hinted at a fascination with Western pop structures, R, B tones, and even subtle EDM influences. A solo comeback in 2026 could be the moment where those elements come together into a new identity. One distinctly Jungkook's, free from the echoes of BTS's earlier sound. This change won't be without risks. Straying too far from expectations could alienate certain listeners, while staying too close might blur the lines between his past and present. But Jungkook's reputation has always been that of an artist willing to take bold leaps. A bang-free comeback might be the boldest leap yet. The potential of Jungkook returning without Bang Si-hyuk has implications far beyond his own career. For the K-pop industry, it signals a trend toward independence. If one of the biggest idols in the world can successfully detach from his longtime producer and still dominate global charts, it will inspire countless younger idols to explore autonomy. Agencies may need to rethink their models, recognizing that idols are not just performers, but artists capable of steering their own direction. For HYBE, it presents both an opportunity and a challenge. While the company will always remain linked to Jungkook through BTS, his decision to move forward creatively without Bang Si-hyuk underscores the reality that even the strongest entertainment giants cannot contain individual ambition forever. Fans, as always, remain at the heart of this discussion. The emotional connection ARMY feels toward Jungkook means that every step he takes is analyzed, debated, and often celebrated. Many are excited by the thought of Jungkook fully embracing his own identity. The chance to hear music that is not just refined by HYBE, but born entirely from his own instincts, excites fans who want to see his rawest side. Yet, alongside excitement lies fear. Can Jungkook maintain the same quality without Bang's oversight? Will stepping away from the man who helped shape BTS's global journey hurt his chances of creating something equally impactful? The uncertainty lingers. But it is precisely this tension that makes the revelation so compelling. The shocking part of Jungkook's rumored plan is not just that he may step away from Bang Si-hyuk's guidance. It is that he may be preparing to establish himself as a singular creative force, untethered from the safety nets that defined his earlier years. This is not simply a comeback, it is the start of a new era. 2026 could mark the moment Jungkook stops being known primarily as the youngest member of BTS, or even as the Golden Maknae. Instead, he may redefine himself as an artist whose identity stands entirely on its own. That kind of transition is rare, difficult, and sometimes even dangerous, but it is also where legends are made. The fascination surrounding this revelation stems from more than just K-pop fandom. Jungkook's global recognition means that any move he makes carries weight across continents. Whether in the United States, Europe, or Asia, industry experts are watching carefully. If Jungkook succeeds in making a powerful comeback without Bang Si-hyuk, it will not only prove his independence, but also reshape conversations about what it means to be a global pop star in the 21st century. His story could become the blueprint for future artists, that the journey does not end with group success, nor does it rely entirely on the figures who helped build the foundation. Instead, it evolves into something personal, risky, and ultimately unforgettable. This would mean more than just a change in sound. It would mean a change in methodology. Bang Si-hyuk's model of production often leaned heavily on narrative cohesion and long-term planning. Western collaborators, by contrast, may prioritize spontaneity, experimentation, and raw emotion. If Jungkook embraces this, his music may no longer feel like an extension of BTS's legacy, but rather a bold leap into new global waters. Bang Si-hyuk has always emphasized storytelling, not just through music but through visuals. BTS's music videos, album concepts, and even their stage performances often revolved around deep metaphors and cinematic themes. If Jungkook is truly moving forward without that structure, then the visuals of his 2026 comeback might feel different, less tied to grand allegories and more focused on his personal narrative. Fans may see Jungkook telling his story through minimalism, through visuals that center his individuality rather than a grand group narrative. A music video could highlight his growth as a man post-military, his struggles with fame, or even his personal sense of freedom. These choices could prove to be the most shocking of all, because they strip away the layers of protection and metaphor, revealing Jungkook as he is, unfiltered. At the heart of this potential comeback is emotion. Jungkook's greatest strength as an artist has always been his ability to connect emotionally with audiences. Whether through the purity of his voice or the vulnerability of his lyrics, fans often describe his performances as raw and deeply human. Without Bang Si-hyuk's refining hand, this emotional intensity may shine even brighter. This is where the shocking revelation begins to take shape. Jungkook's independence is not about breaking away for the sake of rebellion. It is about deepening his ability to share himself with fans. For years, he has carried the title of Golden Maknae, a term that sometimes made him feel like a flawless figure rather than a human being. A 2026 comeback could finally allow him to redefine that label, showing imperfection, maturity, and complexity. A creative break from Bang Si-hyuk also raises questions about the business side of music. Will Jungkook's comeback still be released under HYBE's central strategies? Or will he pursue something closer to a hybrid model where international distribution takes precedence? The answer may lie in Jungkook's growing influence in the United States. If his previous chart dominance with songs like 7 and Standing Next to You is any indicator, Jungkook knows how to navigate Western markets. A comeback without Bang Si-hyuk could be engineered directly with global appeal in mind, bypassing traditional K-pop release structures. That would be a bold business decision, and it would also signal that Jungkook sees himself less as a K-pop idol and more as a global pop star. While fans are excited for Jungkook's freedom, it's impossible to ignore the sheer weight of expectations surrounding his 2026 project. Every comeback carries pressure, but this one feels monumental. The narrative has already been shaped. Jungkook without Bang Si-hyuk. This alone sets a bar that is higher than almost any soloist could imagine. What if the music doesn't resonate as strongly as expected? What if fans miss the polish of Bang's touch? These fears are real, and they will hover over Jungkook as he prepares. But at the same time, expectations can also fuel greatness. Jungkook thrives when the stakes are high. He has proven time and again that he can carry not only his own career, but also the weight of representing BTS on global stages. This is why his comeback is not simply another album. It is a test of his independence, his courage, and his artistry. Another reason why 2026 feels different is the sheer scale of Jungkook's global popularity. Few artists in the world can match his name recognition. This gives him a freedom that many idols never achieve, the freedom to craft his comeback with international audiences in mind first. If Jungkook leans into this, his comeback could mark the beginning of a new era in which K-pop idols no longer need to rely on their agencies to bridge the gap to global markets. Jungkook has already proven he can dominate charts in the US and Europe. With the right collaborations and a clear vision, his 2026 project could establish him as one of the few Asian solo artists who truly stand on equal footing with Western pop stars. Amid all these business and artistic considerations, there remains the emotional thread that ties Jungkook to his fans. ARMY has always been more than a fandom. It has been a partner in Jungkook's journey. If Jungkook does choose independence, it is likely that part of his motivation lies in giving fans a version of himself that is as authentic as possible. This authenticity may be the most shocking revelation of all. For years, K-pop idols have been shaped by layers of management, production, and strategy. To see Jungkook peel away those layers and present something deeply personal would not only transform his image, but also change how fans perceive the role of idols in general. No discussion of Jungkook's independence can ignore the bigger picture. BTS itself. Fans often worry that solo projects signal distance within the group, but Jungkook's potential comeback without Bang Si-hyuk does not necessarily mean a break from BTS. Instead, it could strengthen the group's legacy. If Jungkook proves that he can thrive independently, it reinforces the idea that BTS members are not bound solely by their agency's direction, but by their own artistic strength. For BTS as a whole, this could mean even greater longevity. Each member's ability to stand tall as a soloist ensures that when they reunite as a group, it will not be out of necessity, but out of choice. That sense of choice makes their bond even more meaningful.